What's up, everybody? Matt Moda here to give you some NFL player prop bangers for the NFL Sunday betting slate. So we're talking week 3, NFL Sunday, just the games on Sunday. So Monday night will come in a different video. But I have 5 NFL player props for you guys to lock in for this week. Now, last week, week 2, was absolutely not our week. Some just absolute brutal luck on these NFL player props. Probably one of the worst weeks that we will have over the course of the entire season. Some horrible luck, like the Bijan Robinson receptions prop, I'm still not over from Monday night. Some just bad reads as well. I'm not going to pretend that it was all bad luck. But week 2 on these player props really did not go our way. Now, we did do well with our early bets against the spread, 2-1 on those, up a little bit less than a unit. But the player props did a lot of damage. Now, the good news is week 1 was amazing. One of the best weeks that we will have on these NFL player props. So that's just kind of how things go, the up-down nature of betting. Luckily, we are still up on all 3 of our categories, including player props. So how bad week 2 was, just shows you how good week 1 was, because we are still up on the year on these NFL player props, albeit slightly up, but we will still take some profit. And then as for our early bets, we're up there, up 1.8 units with a 4-2 record. And then as for our underdogs, only 1-1 there, as I didn't play any in week 2, but I did play 2 week 1. Slight profit of 0.05 units there. So we'll take in the green on all 3 of these categories, and obviously we are in the green on the entire season. Let's hope to have a much better week 3 than we had in week 2, starting with some of these bangers. Now, the first play I'm going to go ahead and lock in here is David Montgomery anytime touchdown, -105 at FanDuel. This is our first bet of the game, playing this for 1 unit, and I'll play this down to -110. I was able to get this at -105 at FanDuel. That's the best offered price right when I started recording. By the time you're watching this, if the odds change, bet this to -110. If it's not available at all at -110, I would pivot to its rushing yards, because I do think that's going to be a good game as well. Now, anyways, about the play itself. This is really just a play because the Lions are going to have such a plus matchup running the ball, and I think they're going to be run heavy in the red zone. As of right now, according to Fantasy Points, the Lions have the best rush grade in the entire NFL, literally number 1, and they have the 7th highest adjusted rushing yards before first contact. Now, that's a mouthful. Adjusted rushing yards before first contact. All that means is it's a stat from Fantasy Points that takes out QB kneels, takes out QB scrambles, takes out trick plays, takes out wide receiver running plays, just like normal running plays. How far does a running back go before they get touched first? How much separation is the offensive line getting? Again, 7th highest in terms of that, with the best rushing grade in the NFL. And again, 7th highest in that. The Cardinals, meanwhile, they have the 2nd worst defense adjusted yards before first contact. They're allowing the runner to get the 2nd farthest without getting touched. Not great. Because of the time split between David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, I didn't 100% know which running back to trust for more yards. So I know I said pivot to David Montgomery yards, but between him and Gibbs, it's kind of a toss-up between who's going to run for more yards. But I'm very, very confident that at least, both could score, right? Obviously, both could score. I'm very confident that at least David Montgomery is going to score. It's a little bit of a better angle for him. Even as Jahmyr Gibbs ascends, David Montgomery still gets the majority of work in the red zone as they get close to the end zone, right? Montgomery's tied with 4 other running backs with the 2nd most carries inside the 10-yard line. He's got 5. The league leader has 6, so he's just 1 below the league leader. And Jahmyr Gibbs only has 3 carries inside the 10-yard line. So Montgomery's still the short yardage guy for the Lions, and he's got a plus matchup, so I think he's going to be able to rumble into the end zone. That's play number 1. Now, before I give you play number 2, I would appreciate it if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. I normally mention it at the beginning, but I forgot. So if you could subscribe, that would be great. If you could like and comment, that would be great as well. And then the next 2 bets are actually going to be on the same player. So a little bit risky here, but I think Tony Pollard is due for a blow-up game. So I'm going to take him to score a touchdown. I'm going to put 1 unit on that bad boy at plus 130 odds at Bet365. I'm also going to take him to rush for 80 plus yards at plus 250 odds at ESPN Bet, and I'm putting a half unit on that. So full unit on the touchdown, half unit on the yards. You can see the play 2 numbers on the screen here. And I got to say, the running back, or excuse me, the anytime touchdown odds specifically, kind of wild variance when you line shop that, right? We're getting plus 130 at bet 365. By far the best price on this prop. Next closest book is DraftKings that has it at plus 115. Every other book is either at even money, which is plus 100, or below. Caesars, plus 100. Then we got FanDuel, minus 140. Fanatics, minus 140. No idea what those books are doing, pricing him at minus 140, but we're able to get it at plus 130. That's great. And this is honestly one of my favorite plays on the board when you consider the value of the odds, just like the plus 130, the value of the odds across all books, and then the analysis of the play itself. Now, Tony Pollard quietly been very good for the Titans so far this year. He has, the Titans are 0-2, so he's kind of in anonymity. I think I pronounced that correctly. But he's been very, very good. So I think the yards are also a really good play for him. That's why I wanted action on both. Either way, I'm expecting Tony Pollard to get a lot of work in this game. I'm expecting him to be great in this game. As I mentioned, he's looked great. He's looked way healthier than last year with the Cowboys. Heading into the year, we didn't know what to expect with Tony Pollard. Is he going to be in a 50-50 split with Tajay Spears? That's not been the case. He's been way better than Spears. He's gotten more work than Spears. And now Spears is also banged up. Tony Pollard's gotten 65% of the running back snaps, so not a 50-50 timeshare in terms of snaps. And he's gotten 61% of the rushing attempts, which is the 11th most in the NFL. So he's like one behind Saquon Barkley, one spot in terms of the percent of the team's total rushing attempts going to this individual player. He's also gotten the 4th most targets. He's tied with Bijan Robinson with 10 targets. That's a good number. That helps us with the touchdown part if he can do it through the air. And overall, he's got 33 rush attempts, which is the 10th most in the NFL. And he also gets the majority of the red zone work. Now, the Titans have not run a ton of plays in the red zone. They've either had long touchdowns or when they've gotten in the red zone, Will Levis has done something stupid to turn it over. But all of the running back work in the red zone has gone to Tony Pollard. He's got 3 of the 4 carries and the only target that a running back has logged in the red zone. So I think that the Titans are going to be able to have success running the ball against this Packers team. And I'm on this play regardless of whether the Packers quarterback, Jordan Love, the word I'm looking for, Jordan Love, whether he plays or not, I'm on this play. I think they're going to be able to run the ball. The Titans will. I think they're going to be able to run the ball against the Packers. Last week, I'm pretty frustrated. I'm not going to say it was a bad beat, but I knew Jonathan Taylor was going to have a good game. I took him to score a touchdown. He did not score a touchdown, but he rushed for over 100 yards on 12 carries. He had an awesome game. He just didn't get into the end zone. The Packers, according to DVOA, have the 24th ranked rushing defense. That's not good. The 27th ranked rushing defense, according to PFF. That's not good. They've allowed the 6th highest yards per carry. And this next stat is the most beneficial for Tony Pollard. The Packers have allowed the 2nd highest percent of run attempts go for at least 15 yards. That is good for Tony Pollard, who's an explosive runner. You're going to need him to break off chunk plays, which is what Saquon Barkley did in week 1, which is what Jonathan Taylor did in week 2, which is what Tony Pollard should be able to do in week 3. Even though if you look at like the stat sheet, you look at the total score, it shows that the Packers were able to shut down the Colts offense last week. Not the case. So after Will Levis basically losing back-to-back games for the Titans, I think they're going to lean on the ground game as much as they can. I think they're going to be able to have success doing so. The Packers are a run funnel. So give me Tony Pollard to have a great game, anytime touchdown, 80-plus rushing yards. Before I get into our 4th pick, I do want to talk to you about my Dub Club. If you're unfamiliar, Dub Club is a way in which you can sign up to have picks from people like me sent to you. I only charge $5 a month. It gets all my plays sent directly to your phone. Again, for $5 a month, sent via text, email, or Telegram. So if you're not always able to watch the YouTube videos or you just want to lock in plays before odds change, because that's what the Dub Club, as soon as I see a play, I decide what a play is, the first thing I do is send it out to Dub Club. So that way you're able to get the plays in before the odds change. So if you're interested in that, check it out. Again, $5 a month gets everything I'm playing. If you're not interested in that, no problem, because I still give out everything for free, either on YouTube and on Twitter. So you're not getting anything different on the Dub Club. I just kind of have it as a convenience option. Anyways, let's get into our next play number 4. I'm taking Jordan Mason, 100 plus rushing yards, plus 140 odds at bet 365. So I'm pumping him up a little bit to 100 plus yards to get the juicy odds of plus 140. Now, at least for this game, we know there's no concern of Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey has been placed on IR. We know that he's not going to be there to take any work away. And also, Jordan Mason has taken over as the bell cow running back for the 49ers. He's the He's fourth in the NFL in running back snap percentage, getting 81% of the snaps. But more importantly, he's first in running back rush attempts. So he's getting 76.2% of the running back rush attempts for the 49ers. That literally leads the NFL in running back rush attempts per team. The next closest player is Jonathan Taylor, down at 70%. And again, Jordan Mason's up at 76% of the rush attempts for the 49ers. And this is not like he's gotten all the work but has been plotting. No, he's been awesome in the work that he is getting. He's earned every opportunity that he's gotten. He's got the second most rushing yards in the NFL as of right now. He's tied with Ramondre Stevenson for the most forced tackles in the NFL. And of all 24 running backs that have gotten at least 25 attempts, so we're kind of limiting the guys that don't get a lot of work, he's got the second highest yards after contact and the sixth highest yards per attempt, yards after contact per attempt. I know that I'm giving you a lot of stats, but what you need to know here is, again, Jordan Mason, the second highest yards after contact. He's gotten, it's like after he's contacted, he's gotten the second most yards and the sixth highest yards after contact per attempt. So no matter how you look at it, he's been really, really good. And the good news is, not only is he really good at forcing missed tackles and at breaking, getting contacted and still getting a lot of yards, he's also part of a great rushing offense in the 49ers. The 49ers are one spot below the Lions, who we just talked about, in terms of rush grade per fantasy points. Again, second best in the NFL, one spot below the Lions. They're sixth in the NFL in terms of adjusted yards before first contact, again, per fantasy points. And they've got the fifth best rushing block grade, run blocking grade, better way to phrase that, the fifth best run blocking grade, according to PFF. Really, really good stats across the board for Jordan Mason. Really, really good stats across the board for the 49ers running game. This is also a game in which you figure the 49ers should be winning the majority of the game. They're like a touchdown favorite over the Rams. And this is a Rams team that just has nobody left to play football. They're down like 4 offensive linemen. They're down both Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. Just a brutal situation for the Rams. So I think that the 49ers are going to be leading. I think they're going to be leaning. They're going to be winning. They're going to be leaning on the ground game against the Rams defense that currently has the 4th worst rush defense in the NFL according to DVOA. Jordan Mason's going to go off in this game. If you want to take him 2+ touchdowns, I wouldn't hate that. If you wanted to like really climb the ladder to like 125 plus rushing yards, I wouldn't hate that. I'm just sticking with the 100+. But however you want to back Jordan Mason, I'm cool with. That's our 4th play. Next up, 5th and final pick of the video, Trey McBride, 7+ receptions, plus 215 odds at bet 365. And I'm putting a half unit on this bad boy. You could be safer and you could take 6 receptions. I wanted to pump those numbers up a little bit and scale that unit size down, put a half unit on it. You know, I got burned by taking McBride 7+ receptions last week. Another part of the bad luck because we got hooked. He ended with exactly 6 receptions and he didn't play most of the 4th quarter because that game was such a blowout. I mean, that game was 14-0 before people even sat in the stands to get into their seats. That game was just a blowout from the jump. This game, A, should be much closer, and B, it should be a game in which the Cardinals have to pass a lot. I already talked about how bad the Cardinals defense is, so I think the Lions are going to be scoring a lot. I also think the Cardinals are going to be able to be scoring a lot as well. And the beauty of this is the Lions defense, they're a pass funnel. You know, the Packers are a run funnel. The Lions are a pass funnel. It was the case last year. It's continued to be the case this year. Last year, they allowed the 2nd fewest rushing yards per game through 2 games. This year, they're allowing the 5th fewest rushing yards per game. They're also allowing the 4th lowest yards per carry. And the Lions are also one of the only 2 teams in the NFL that have yet to allow an explosive run. An explosive run is defined as a run of 15+ yards. They're, again, one of only 2 defenses that have yet to allow one. They're a great run defense, but they're not a great pass defense. Last year, they allowed the 4th most passing yards per game, and they just got worse as the season went on. And if you look at 2 games so far this year, they've allowed the 6th most passing yards per game. And this next stat, it's a small sample size, but the Lions play man coverage at the 3rd highest rate in the NFL. And again, tiny sample size. It's only 10 routes run against man coverage. But of anybody on the Cardinals, Trey McBride has the highest win rate against man coverage. So he's kind of their man coverage beater. He has a win rate of 57% per fantasy points. He also has the highest separation score against man coverage as well, again, per fantasy points. And this is of players on the Cardinals. So when they're facing man coverage, when they faced man coverage for the first 2 weeks, McBride's been their best receiver against that type of coverage. Again, tiny sample size, so we'll need to see more before we really learn if that's noise or not. But as of right now, looks good in that category. And then if you just look at raw targets, you don't look at coverage or anything like that. You just look at workload. It's amazing how good it is for Trey McBride. Looking at all wide receivers and tight ends, so not just limiting it to tight ends, Trey McBride has the 5th highest target percentage in the entire NFL. Of all the targets from all the quarterbacks, he's got the 5th highest target rate at 28.8%. You look at like the elite of the elite wide receivers, that number is around 30%. Trey McBride's at 28.8. And obviously it's the 5th highest in the entire NFL. It's the highest of all tight ends. And then you look at some deeper numbers. He has the 5th most first read targets of all tight ends. He's got 10, which means like the first read of the play is to him. And then he's tied with the 2nd most designed targets with 3. Now, first read targets and designed targets are obviously similar, but designed targets is a little bit different because it's like this play was designed for Trey McBride, whereas first read is like it was just happened to be the quarterback's first read, not necessarily the play designed to him. Either way, both those stats look good. And even as Marvin Harrison blew up last week, and he could blow up again this week easily, Trey McBride led the Cardinals in receptions. I'm expecting that to happen again in a game in which they're going to pass a ton. And that's all we got. 5 bangers for you guys to lock in. Let's hope to have a much, much better week this week than we had last week. I appreciate everybody who's been rocking with me. I appreciate it for watching this video. If you could like it, if you could comment, I would appreciate it. And then if you could subscribe, I would appreciate that as well. Check out the Dub Club if you are interested in getting all my plays sent to you for $5 a month. But that's all we got. So thank you everybody for watching and have a good one.